Okay, here we go. Aloha, everyone. This is John with HiAMFT. I'm the president, and I am, I think, flying solo today. I am glad to be able to join you today live. My hope has been during this 2022 legislative session to go live every Monday around this time to be able to share with you some exciting information about the developments on some bills that we have going through the legislature. It is a fast-paced process and sometimes requires um, lightning speed turnaround times to be able to submit testimony in time. And that is the case right now, as it literally 2 minutes ago became too late to submit any testimony for a few bills that are being heard tomorrow. Um, and But no worries, you can still submit your testimony. They'll just be marked late. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not completely sure what the downside is of that, other than it probably just doesn't look very good to somebody who's looking at all these testimonies to see it marked late. Um, but that is what it is. So I invite you to please still consider going on to the Hawaii government website, the Capitol website, and register to testify. And you could submit some testimony. And if you need testimony, uh, we have a template that you can use of our testimony that we've submitted, and you feel free to copy and paste that to put some of your own verbiage in there. Of course, put your name in there. In fact, why don't I show you the most recent one that we submitted? And when I say we, I mean our lobbyist, Becky Gardner, who has been just amazing. Um, so she is working tirelessly through the evening sometimes to get these testimonies ready for us and to create all these links that I've been sending out to folks via email where you can go on there and submit your testimony easily. Becky Gardner, you are worth every cent and every ounce of energy that we put into this because you are so passionate and competent, and we just are so grateful for you. But let me show you the most recent one, and this one's going to be related to our associate level licensing bill, and that bill is SB 2829. So just give me a second here to pull that up. Let's see. Share my screen. And here we go. Okay. So this is our testimony in strong support of SB 2829. And we started off by offering some of these ratios of the number of clients to the number of providers on a given island or in a given region. And as you can see, in Hawaii, on Big Island rather, we have 320 clients for every one therapist. In Honolulu, it's 370 to 1, Kauai, 480 to 1, and Maui, 550 to 1. And Molokai, they don't even have any registered providers. So this really just seems to highlight the issue, why we even have an associate level licensing bill. Why are we asking the state to create another level of licensed provider, mental health provider? It's because we have these kinds of shortages. Okay? So first and foremost, it's to meet this overwhelming demand for mental health services that we cannot meet with our current level of mental health providers. We just don't have enough folks. And we don't want to have to bring folks from the mainland here because we have a very unique place. And living here really teaches you about a different way of being in the world. And so we want to have people that are from here being able to serve folks who live here. And we're doing this, of course, with the mental health counselors, the psychologists, the social workers already have essentially an associate level license It is questionable, though, whether it's reimbursable through insurance. I know there are a couple of insurance companies that will reimburse for that level. I think HMAA, maybe Aloha Care. Um, but what they're asking for in this bill is to uh, mandate that all the insurance providers recognize an associate level license as being able to qualify for insurance reimbursement. Now, the benefit of that is, of course, you could then, and by the way, not independently. This means that that person who has an associate level license during that 2 to 5 year training window after they've graduated with their graduate degree and before they're fully independently licensed, where they could then bill insurance completely on their own, during that 2 to 5 year period, they're connected with a supervisor. Now, they already have to do this. In order to get independently licensed, all of us professionals have to have that 2 to 5 year training period where we're receiving supervision. The thing is, right now, as it's set up, we'd have to do that uh, oftentimes for free. And stop sharing my screen while I explain this. And that's not, I mean, that's not cool. I mean, who can afford to do that? Maybe some people, um, but a lot of folks either can't do that, or I should say, a large number of folks either cannot do that, or they have to go into debt to do that. And so some of the alternatives that we've heard people engage in would be they drop out of the field completely sometimes. In fact, we heard of a social worker who decided to, after she had graduated with her degree in her master's in social work, she decided that she was going to just cut hair because it paid better and it was less expensive for her because of that training window where she couldn't get reimbursed for insurance billing. The other thing is they might go to the mainland, and that leads us to have an increase in the dearth of providers. Not to mention brain drain. We have some incredibly talented people that end up going to the mainland because they can find positions that would actually pay. They can go to another state that does have an associate level license. For MFTs, there are 23 other states that already do this. And they can find more relevant training experiences, which is another huge reason why we want to have this associate level license, because you can have people actually get trained as therapists rather than being trained as a case manager or getting trained as, I don't know, somebody working in a prison system or as a substance abuse counselor only. Where you might not be doing diagnostic assessments, diagnosing, or treatment planning, or having a very wide range of clinical experiences that you might find you'll encounter as an independently licensed professional, mental health professional. So we've got the issue of we have an overwhelming need. Our clients would like services. As this was true before the pandemic, it's absolutely true now during the pandemic, and it will continue to be true after the pandemic, because we just don't fully understand how the ripple effect of this long period of sustained stress is going to affect the large swath of people who are growing up in it, say children, for example, the adolescents who have had a huge reduction in their ability to socialize, which, that's a huge part of identity development for adolescents, is being able to interact with peers. And then, of course, adults, couples, families who've either had more time together and that can create conflict, or they're having economic distress now. There's just lots of ramifications here. So first and foremost, it's for our clients. Second of all, it's for our clinicians that we want to have come from our local community and to be able to help them actually earn a living as they've entered this very noble profession of trying to heal people. And hopefully, my vision is that this creates another opportunity for a career path for a lot of local residents, where you can grow up in say, the area of uh, Puna here on Big Island. And even though you might not have access to a lot of, I don't know, mental health services down there, you now, if with an associate level license, you might have access to a little bit more because there are people down there who are in this in between period, not fully independently licensed, that I know of. And they could provide amazing services if they could get reimbursement through insurance. And then those people that they touch and they affect can say, hey, I remember working with somebody who really helped me work through some difficult times. And then they think, hey, maybe I can go to school to do something like that. And then they see that there's actually a way to do that and earn a living once you graduate. And so it becomes more of a viable career opportunity. And then they do that and it becomes generative. And that's what I'm imagining. So all that is to say, my long-winded way of saying, we think that this bill will be really helpful. Um, and let me see any other highlights here. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything, actually. I didn't really have to read that to you. Other bills that we have going on. Oh, let me also show you the cool voter voice link that our lobbyists created for these 3 bills that are going on right now. So this first one here, this is a app, a website, a service called Voter Voice. Double HiAMFT uses this, APA uses this, and Hawaii Psychological Association uses it, and they've been kind enough to lend it to all of our processes. The mental health HUI, as we call ourselves informally, that's HPA, NASW, Hawaii, HiAMFT, and now the social workers who are slowly coming into the fold here. This is where you can compose your message very easily. Just put your information in here and you can click and send it, and that will send a message to the folks in the Senate to let them know you're in support of this bill. So it's actually pretty easy. Now, obviously this one needed to be in at 10 o'clock, but like I said, hey, still go for it. There are a couple of other bills I wanted to share with you really quick that are being heard on. One is this audio-only telehealth, and we have a couple of those going on. Some of them are, there's one that's going through HB 1980, I believe. That is not our bill, but it's another attempt to get it to get telephonic telehealth on the books permanently, as opposed to just an emergency proclamation. We have mixed thoughts about that one. We think it could be helpful if some of the language is changed. But these 2 bills, SB 2645 and this one, SB 2703, are our bills. And we think they will actually move the ball forward in terms of getting telephone contacts to qualify as telehealth. So I'll put those links in the chat here, and you can go ahead and click those. And like I said, even though it might be late, go ahead and submit some testimony. The thing about these 2 bills is you have to understand that if you look at any insurance, not any, we'll say HMSA, for example, in some of their languaging around what constitutes telehealth, they often will cite one line in statute that says I think it says telephone, facsimile, email, text. Those things do not qualify as telehealth, and that is their justification for not reimbursing for telehealth. And when we've spoken with them, I really appreciated what they've had to say about that, which is their concern is that the quality of those services isn't the same as a face-to-face or at least a video conferencing telehealth session. I've also heard concerns about fraud. And what I would say to those 2 things is, first of all, the latter is that when we did a search of any RICO complaints that might have to do with fraud, we only found 2 complaints in the last year. And neither of them had to do with anything related to insurance or telephone services or telehealth. And then to the former, about any sort of quality issue, um, one thing to remember is that while there is a lot of overlap between physiological medical services and mental health services, this is one important area of distinction and difference. Because when we're providing telehealth services for mental health services, of course, we're doing a lot of talk therapy, even if we're in person. Uh, and there are exceptions to that. You know, you can be an experiential therapist. You can use sand play therapy or sand tray therapy, play therapy, all those different modalities. Yet, by and large, most of the therapy involves talking and going back and forth, which telephone lends itself to. Um, uh, the quality of that interaction is not diluted by the technology. If it would be diluted by anything, it would be by the people involved. And that will not change whether you're using an audio or you're using a video or you're doing a face-to-face thing. So that is a training issue. And that brings us back to why an associate level license would be really important, is so that we can really train people well on how to use face-to-face services, how to provide quality telehealth, whether it's video or whether it's only audio. That is all the stuff that we do in that 2 to 5 year interim period between what we're hoping will be a dependent licensure situation and an independent license situation. So these bills really do support each other, and that's why we're so behind them. We say, let's do this. Let's move this field forward. This is really a reformation of the code, the statutes. Like I said, half of the states in the United States already have something like this on the books. Not to mention that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid have already agreed that telephonic services qualify as telehealth, particularly because of their data that shows that if you don't have it, it disproportionately negatively affects people in low-income, rural communities or people of ethnic or racial minority status, because those folks tend to rely more on telehealth services than folks who are not in those demographics. So it does become an equity issue. So there are lots of things to consider here. And I've just been talking and talking. So what I'm going to do is pause here for a moment and just say thank you so much for all that you're doing to support HiAMFT, all the mental health professionals in our community, and of course, all of our clients and would-be clients, including us mental health professionals who either have been clients, currently are clients, or might be clients in the future. We're all in this together. This is really less about hierarchy, and this is more about how can we all be healthy together. That is the goal. How do we help all boats rise in the situation? Hey, next week, I'm hoping to have maybe some video to play for you from Britt Young, who is a group practice owner, an MFT, and was very helpful and instrumental in the creation of our associate level licensing bill. And I've asked her to record a short video for us to just give us her thoughts on the associate level licensing bill. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be speaking with Dr. Diane Gayhart, who has graciously agreed to share 15 to 20 minutes with me to talk story about these issues as well. So that's all for today. Mahalo. Have a great rest of your Monday. It's President's Day. It's a holiday. So if you're relaxing at home with your keiki, I hope you have a great day. And if you're working today, I hope it goes smoothly. So be well, and we'll see you next Monday. Ahui ho.